just want this to be good.
Oh. I should have trusted you guys.
Yeah, this is the pinnacle of Barbie movies.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ballet Rain. You guys, guess what time it is? That's right, you guys. Your most trusted, very favorite ballet nerds on the internet are back in the box today for yet another Barbie-que session. You guys seem to really like these.
Yeah.
And last time we reacted to Barbie and the 12 Dancing Princesses.
Linked above and below.
And underneath that video, we got a ton of requests to react to what is allegedly the must-see, the magnum opus, the very highest pinnacle of the Barbie ballet movie series, which is, of course, Barbie of Swan Lake.
Now for the context, Swan Lake is Eden and I's very favorite ballet in the classical ballet repertoire. And we know the music, the story, the choreography like the backs of our hands. We've done several videos on it, linked above and below if you want to check out more about Swan Lake. And so that being said, our expectations for anything claiming to revolve around Swan Lake at all is very, very high. And so in today's video, we're going to be giving you guys our very subjective opinions regarding Barbie of Swan Lake and how it even compares to the original. There may or may not be roasting involved, we will see. We've heard some positive reviews.
It's supposed to be the magnum opus, you guys.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like the masterpiece, the very best, the creme de la creme, the very tip top of ballet Barbie cinematic universe media.
We will see. So if you are ready, then make sure your blowtorches are too. Tap the like button while you're at it, and let's get going.
For context, this movie is not meant to accurately follow the story of Swan Lake.
Not at all.
It is a very, very loosely adapted retelling of the original Swan Lake tale.
For the Barbie cinematic universe and also to fit, you know, the young audiences that
Yes.
the movie was intended for.
Although a lot of the main plot points stay intact because it
Yes.
has to be recognizably Swan Lake.
Obviously.
I think for this movie and also like for the 12 Dancing Princesses,
Yes.
as you'll recall,
I think Barbie and the Nutcracker as well.
and yeah, and the
Yeah.
Nutcracker as well.
Nutcracker.
They used actual like motion capture on actual certified
dancers.
ballet dancers to animate this movie. So we are crossing our fingers for some decent, good animation. Now, in terms of plot of the movie, obviously Odette gets cursed by the sorcerer Rothbart
Yes.
to become a swan maiden. Now, in the ballet, Rothbart turns Odette into a swan because he is just a sadistic swan maiden collector.
And in some productions, Rothbart falls in love with Odette first, and when she refuses him, that's what makes him turn on her and then
turn her
curse her to become a swan. Different interpretations.
Yes. But in the Barbie movie, she's turned into a swan because of the larger overarching plot line involving like the fairy queen and the magic crystal. It's complicated.
Honestly, most of y'all probably know the plot better than we do, but
Probably.
anyway.
So anyways, Odette is a swan now. She can only become a human at night and a swan by day, as is accurate to the ballet. We're launching into our first clip, and this is where Prince Siegfried actually finds Odette and they meet for the first time. And in the ballet, this is a very pivotal moment because for Odette, this is actually her first entrance of the ballet.
Yes.
Obviously for the movie, this is not the case. She's
Yes.
had quite a bit of screen time already, but we'll get to see like their sort of first meeting. And this is the perfect segue to our first major egregious error that we have with this movie.
The commentary hasn't even started yet, and we already have something to roast.
This is a bad sign, you guys.
It's a bad sign.
The error in question is the fact that Prince Siegfried in the Barbie Swan Lake movie is not actually named Siegfried. Do you know what they called him, you guys?
Daniel.
They called him Daniel.
If your name is Daniel, just know that we love you. It's a fine name. It's a wonderful
It's a
name.
beautiful
It's a
name.
beautiful name. Daniel.
Exquisite name. But we're not trying to pick fights with all of our Daniel named viewers.
No,
we're just saying that like why change the name? Siegfried isn't that hard to say, I guess.
Maybe hard to spell, but
maybe hard to
honestly,
spell.
how is Daniel any easier?
If I may have a say in the matter, I feel like Siegfried is a very responsibly pronounceable name, in my opinion.
So
Siegfried?
There was no
real reason.
no real reason.
I mean, we kept Odette.
We kept Odette,
and we
like-
kept Odile, and we kept Rothbart.
So why did we have
But,
to-
like-
now Daniel just feels out of place.
You know, as for the name itself, there's nothing wrong with
No.
naming him Daniel. It's just
No.
why is he named Daniel? I kind of miss Siegfried. I won't lie.
I miss it too, and it doesn't quite fit the rest of the cast, but that is okay.
That is okay.
Take a deep breath.
We will overlook it.
Overlook it. We will brush it aside.
Yeah.
Toast it later. So with our first roast out of the way, let's actually get into the commentary.
Daniel meets Odette for the first time. Very exciting stuff.
Here we go.
He does have the bow, which is accurate. Here comes Odette.
What a prize! All right, go on, take the shot. Take the shot!
I like the use of the score.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that.
So beautiful. What are you waiting for? No! Now!
Actually accurate.
This is actually very accurate to the ballet.
Not the accurate music, but whatever.
There she
And there we go.
is.
He looks so confused. That was actually exactly what happens in the ballet. He's
Yeah.
out in the forest hunting, he sees the swan, and then he's about to shoot, and then before he does, she turns it back into a girl again, and then he's obviously spellbound, enchanted, and
Absolutely
fascinated.
enamored.
And, yeah, enamored. That's
in-
basically the ballet.
Yeah, it's a movie reenaction of what actually happens in the ballet.
Basically. No notes, honestly, this was great. They did use the score.
Yeah.
Not the exact music where Odette actually makes her first entrance in the ballet, but they
But,
still used
you know,
some pretty
Tchaikovsky.
cool pieces of music, which kind of captures you know,
yeah, like the vibe.
magical vibe.
Yeah. And they made it seem a bit more magical than
I think
like
so.
Odette being
Cursed.
and tragic.
Made it a little bit more lighthearted,
Yeah.
which is probably good for the kids. Anyway.
Next scene.
Next
okay.
scene.
Now in the ballet Swan Lake, after Odette and Siegfried meet, they have a short little pas de deux, and then we have the entrance of the swans, which is like all of the swan maidens, and then we have a bunch of different swan numbers, and then we obviously have the white swan pas de deux or the love duet, which is sort of where Siegfried and Odette open up to each other a little bit, and they fall in love, obviously.
Obviously.
But here in the movie, we do not have a love duet per se.
No.
But we do have this short little scene of Odette and Daniel kind of getting to know each other, and there is some dancing here as well.
Yes,
Not
a little.
necessarily love duet dancing, but
No.
there is dancing. So here we go. And I will note, this right here musically is
The Dance of the Swan.
the Dance of the Swans, which does appear in the White Act. Although this is usually reserved for the court of ballet.
Yeah, it's usually a quarter ballet number. It's actually pretty stepped.
Yeah.
This is actually really good. It looks very ballet accurate.
Yeah. Like the movement patterns
Yeah,
are there.
exactly.
I feel like the animation's pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, okay, you know
It was
what?
pretty good.
That was pretty
It
good.
was pretty good.
The soda shot, that last soda shot was a bit whack.
It's a bit janky, but it's not that bad,
Yeah, it's
honestly.
honestly-
The steps were legible. It was a sauté,
Yeah,
and a little
and balance,
balancing, and then
and-
tomikuji jete or something. And a
Waltz turn,
And then shene, 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 shene.
You know, her arms are a little. I think they were just meant to be relaxed, though. I'm assuming. Like the little,
Yeah, this.
like that. That's
yeah,
very.
that's very ballet. And then the other side, of course. No, it seems very balletically accurate. That's actually beautiful. That was really good.
Honestly, I'm impressed.
I'm impressed too.
I think the movement quality was there. Like
Yeah,
you could see
yeah,
the
yeah.
cadence of the way the dancers would kind of move through the floor,
Yeah,
and they would kind
exactly.
of use their plie, and the way they have that little breath before they enter and exit steps.
Yeah, and I also think the choreography was quite fitting. It was decent, and I think it translated pretty well into the Barbie characters.
Yeah. I think if I were to give any notes about this, it's more just like
Nuances.
yeah, like tiny nuances. There are certain where the legs weren't quite straight,
Yeah.
or the arms were kind of funny.
Arms are usually very high high on Barbie, but
Yeah.
honestly, this is what, our 4th time
Yeah.
watching a Barbie movie.
We've come to expect it.
I kind of expect it at this
Yeah, and honestly,
point.
by Barbie standards, is good.
This is really good
You know
for
what I
Barbie
mean?
standards.
One thing that I do have a gripe with for this scene, or for this movie in general, is that I miss the Swan Maidens. I really miss the Swan Maidens because for
We didn't
me,
see them at all.
they don't even appear in the movie. In the
That is
movie, there are no
unfortunate.
Swan Maidens. She's just
The Swan Maiden.
Maiden.
Yeah.
That's fine because, like, obviously they have a different plot line going on. But if it were up to me,
At least 60.
yeah, because I feel like for ballet lovers, anyways, I think you'll all agree with me when I say that the corps de ballet,
Makes the ballet.
it makes Swan Lake. You know what I mean?
Without the swans, what is Swan Lake?
Yeah, it's Swan Lake because there are literally
There's swans
60 swan
on the
maidens
lake.
on the lake. And that would have been amazing to see in the movie.
And it's subjective. I know having too many characters can get
Yeah.
overwhelming
It
for
can.
like a movie, but
But the Swan Maidens would have been cool. That's all I'm saying.
it would have been.
This next scene does not appear in the ballet at all, but in the movie we do get to see some beautiful dancing scenes.
Hopefully beautiful.
Hopefully.
It is Odette getting a dance lesson from the Fairy Queen, who is not a part of the original ballet at all whatsoever. But again, for the movie, different characters, different plot, whatever. Sort of the Fairy Queen teaching Odette to dance, sort of in a preparation for Daniel's ball. Anyway, we're getting to the good part.
Let's see some
go.
dancing.
Let's dance.
Ooh, I'd have ate this up as a kid.
Oh, I know, me too. Oh gosh.
Transformation scenes always got me, you guys.
Especially with sparkles
Yeah,
and
with-
the little sound effects.
Yeah, and like the
Twinkling,
tutus
yeah,
and the
yeah.
shoes
Oh
and
my
everything.
gosh.
Oh my god.
And this piece is, I think, very suitable because this piece is the Neapolitan dance from Act 2 of Swan Lake, which does occur in the ball scene.
Yes.
And so it kind of looks like she's rehearsing Odette for the Neapolitan dance, which Odette typically doesn't dance. But, you know, in context,
Yeah, like preparing her for
it feels
the
like
dancing that will
the
happen
ball.
at the ball.
Yeah, it feels like that.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's okay.
I like that, yeah.
Fairy Queen is remarkably turned out. I'm just saying. She's very turned out. A little tardy on that, but that's okay.
Again, like we said for
Yeah.
the 12 Dancing Princesses, the mechanics of the step are all there.
All there, yeah.
It's all there very, very, very well. My only critique is just the arms.
Yeah,
Like
the arms.
when she doesn't quite get all the way up to 5th here, she gets kind of, you know, here. I feel like Barbie does better with the 5th.
Yeah, and her musicality is slightly better too. It actually looks kind of like the Neapolitan dance.
Yeah.
They do the little spring point step. I like, okay, small detail. I like how they all are kind of individual. Like,
Yes.
I remember in 12 Dancing Princesses, they definitely cloned the same dancer, like all 12 times.
Yeah.
I like how this one, they all are a little bit different.
Yeah, like they had their own like
Yeah.
motion capture dancer.
Exactly. I think it just makes a little bit more realistic. I think it was a nice little detail. That's
Like-
very Balanchine.
Yeah, exactly. It is very like New York City.
Yeah, it's
ballet.
very NYZV. That's so
Yeah.
funny.
But like, I'm impressed. The lines are all there, like
Yeah.
in nice shapes. I don't feel like we're getting quite to passe there on those
Not
last little
quite.
bit. But you know what?
But-
I was impressed like by these. Like they're shaping their feet.
Yeah, they're
kind
shaping their
of.
feet.
They're like
I appreciate that the ribbons aren't laced up to the knees like
Yeah.
we've seen in previous Barbie movies, and the shoes aren't ridiculously pink, you know, like they actually look like a decent color.
yeah, like they kind of match the tights or the skin color. I can see what you mean by this is the best Ballet Barbie movie. I can see what y'all were saying when you say like this is like where
This
it's
is,
at.
this is where it's at. And I think that in part of the Barbie movie plot, the scene is great.
Yeah,
'Cause
like-
she's really preparing her for what's going to be at the ball.
And like their technique was there.
Yeah, the technique was pretty good.
Nice. You know what? I should have trusted you guys.
Yeah.
You guys have good taste.
Good taste.
In Ballet Barbie movies.
Yes, you do. We are really getting into this. This is the ball scene, obviously. It's Siegfried's birthday party, so to speak. And we're getting into what is the Barbie equivalent of the Black Swan pas de deux, which is probably one of the most iconic parts of Swan Lake. So our expectations, as you can imagine, are like above the frame of the video. So
and like
anyway.
Barbie's done a good job
So far
in the movie. So we're hoping that we will be able to carry this authentic, good ballet nerd vibe energy
Yes, please.
into the Black Swan pas de deux.
Remember, not a word.
Why not?
Not a word.
Odette.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
I see what you're onto.
That's cool.
I
See,
like
that's
that.
something that we could never do in, you know,
In
a
ballet.
live ballet. You can't just have the dancer just change like
Yeah.
that so much.
But I like that you can see, like, from the
From
audience perspective, it's very definitively Odile and she's
Yes.
in black.
Yes.
But, like, when you look from Daniel's point of view, he looks at her and he immediately
he
sees
sees Odette.
Odette.
Which is accurate to the story. So in that regard, I approve.
Yeah, I 100%
I love
approve.
that.
That's a really nice touch.
Yeah.
Odette. She's here.
Your Majesties,
I'm so glad you came.
And I...
we wouldn't miss it.
Okay, but Soji won't let her talk because she sounds like Odile
Yes,
and not
that's
Odette.
right. That's
Which,
right.
again, in the ballet is accurate.
Accurate.
Because in the ballet, Odette is always voiced on the oboe.
Yes.
And then when we get to the Black Swan pas de deux, her main melody, her main voice is the violin.
Yeah, like
which
really
is really high and very like sharp.
Not screeching, but it has that sharpness to it.
Yeah.
Whereas Odette on the oboe is a lot rounder toned, a lot softer, a lot more gentle.
Yeah.
So you have those two voices in terms of the score. And so just that little detail of like, you know, the different voices and why he's trying to just keep her quiet so
Yeah,
she doesn't
like, don't
give herself
speak,
away.
yeah.
I think it's accurate to the ballet in a very unique way. So this is really cool.
I appreciate that.
We wouldn't miss it.
Will you dance with me?
Ah, there we go. Now you can see what's really going on. And here we go for the pas de deux. Let's go. The little side eye there. Oh my gosh.
And that is
Which-
pretty accurate to what Odile would do.
Yeah, exactly.
She's always like
She's
getting in
leaning
his
into him,
space.
and then she's like, you know, cutting an eye over to Rothbart. Yeah, am I doing it right?
Yeah,
look how
exactly.
good I'm doing. She's kind of showing off a little
Yeah.
bit. Again, the two perspectives. Our perspective, knowing who she actually is, and then sort
His,
of
like,
spellbound,
absolutely bewitched, yeah.
perspective.
Like even in this frame, when she smiled at him, yes, it's Odette's face.
Yeah.
But the expression is Odile.
Expression
There's a
is
bit of a
different.
sharpness to it, a bit of a slyness to
Yeah.
it. Which again goes in the ballet. No matter how much she looks like Odette, her mannerisms will always be Odile.
That's perfect.
Oh!
That's cool. I love when he's not looking. She's
like
Odile. When he
Odile.
looks at her, she's Odette. And this is very accurate too. She's always kind of like circling him, just kind
Yeah.
of like checking him out, just making sure that, you know, everything's going according to plan. He's
Yeah.
falling under the spell. Everything's working the way it should.
And the Bore stories are good. Her legs are together.
They were decent. They were decent. Oh yeah, and this is very Odile too. She was always covering herself like this, like, oh, I'm so demure.
Because she's trying to be Odette.
Yeah, exactly. That was this line too. Yeah.
This is all very.
Yeah, this is very Odile. Also accurate.
Oh, yes. Love that. Wow. That whole...
That's actually very accurate, yeah. And that part is exactly just before Odette comes to the window, which
and
is
then
wonderful.
in the movie, we actually
and then
cut
we
to
see
Odette
coming to the
being
window.
distraught.
Let's continue.
You know, I promised my mother I'd find myself a bride tonight.
That was nicely
That
done.
was good.
Nicely executed. That little circle into
Yeah. Leg was behind her, fairly squared off for a Barbie movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, why am I impressed?
Like, I knew I'd be impressed going into this, but I didn't know how impressed. Okay.
let's not jinx it. Let's keep
Yeah,
watching.
let's not jinx it.
Let's keep watching.
You know, I promised my mother I'd find myself a bride tonight. And I never break a promise.
That's Tchaikovsky Parida.
Yes.
That's Tchaikovsky Parida.
That lift that changes direction.
That's the Tchaikovsky Parida, which is not Swan Lake per se, but it's a complicated relationship.
Yeah,
okay?
it's like tangentially related.
Exactly. It's again, you probably wouldn't notice that detail if you weren't like a ballet nerd,
But like, we
appreciate that detail.
It appears my son is enamored with your daughter.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
Ooh, that's also very Swan Lake.
Yeah, very Swan Lake.
That quick switch.
Yeah, the switch. And it's also accurate that the Queen and Rothbart are kind of, talking with each other.
Like, oh, this might work out.
Yeah,
this might work
exactly.
out.
Back to Odette here.
I feel like his hand was a little far on her shoulder. Small note.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like he was barely holding her. That's what I mean. That actually does happen in the ballet. He does actually close the window on her.
He does. Or like make her disappear in some way, shape, form, or fashion, depending on your production and how much access you have to fancy stage tricks.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the same music as well, typically.
Oh, even the tourgette open up to him, come here, like
exactly.
That's Odile. Whip turn. Yeah.
Accurate.
And this final whip turn is also very, very accurate. If you look at
Almost any
them.
parida, it'll always end with a whip turn to finish.
Yeah.
Once again, accurate.
I guess what I'm asking is, will you marry me?
No.
That step forward was so accurate.
Oh
my God.
Every dancer ever in any ballet, if the ballerina ever goes away from him, he'll always step forward just slightly and be like, wait, where are you going?
I'm impressed. That was convincing. Very convincing. Let's keep going.
I couldn't help overhearing, Your Highness. Are you asking for my daughter's hand in marriage?
Yes.
That's very flattering, but I must ask. Do you love her?
Yes.
Let's go.
Ooh, this is accurate. Ballet accurate.
Do you love her?
Yes. I love her with all my heart.
Thank you, Your Highness. You've been very helpful.
That's exactly what happened in the ballet.
Yeah, basically the ballet.
The
which is
moment
great.
he pledges to love her forever, then it's like, we're done.
The spell lifts.
The illusion's exposed.
Yeah,
like-
everything's exposed now, and then he finally sees his mistake, where he went wrong, and who Rothbart and Odile really is.
Rothbart.
What day should we get married, big boy?
Where is Odette?
Who cares? You've already pledged your love to my daughter.
Bye-bye, sweetie pie.
Ooh, the suspense.
Suspense. This is actually really good.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. We have never watched these movies before, but like from an outsider's perspective,
Yes,
we'll say
yeah.
this is quite good.
It follows the ballet.
It really does. It really does. It
Very-
honors it in a very appropriate way, I think. Obviously, it's different from the ballet,
Yeah.
but I think it follows closely enough.
The
and
main points are there.
yeah, I think they used the score pretty well as
Yeah.
well to match sort of the vibe
Yeah.
that they're going for in the scenes. Yeah, I'm happy.
They messed
honestly.
with Tchaikovsky appropriately.
They did, and they didn't do it in a cheesy way.
Yeah. No, we didn't add drum beats. That's all I'm saying.
That's exactly it. We're not gonna pull out the
Yes.
blowtorch just yet.
Yeah.
Let's continue to the, what is this, the final
The final
scene?
scene.
Okay, let's go.
Now, in the ballet world, the thing with the final scene of Swan Lake
Yes.
is that in the ballet, there are actually many, many different but all accepted endings
Yes.
for Swan Lake.
Very
There
different.
is a tragic ending, a bittersweet ending, a happy ending,
Yeah.
a very, very dissatisfying ending.
Yes.
Part of the reason why you go to see different Swan Lakes is like, I wonder how it ends.
Yeah,
You
you,
know
just
what I
want to
mean?
see everyone's different interpretation of the ending because there are so many.
I'm imagining for this, my bet is going to be a happy ending.
It's Barbie.
It's-
How could it not
It's
be
for
a happy
children. You
ending?
can't have a double suicide Swan Lake ending for a kid's movie. You can't have that.
It's definitely gonna be a happy ending.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure how this is gonna end, but I know it's gonna be a happy ending somehow or other. So let's get into it.
Let's get into it. This is actually accurate to the ballet.
Very accurate.
Siegfried does face down Rothbart one-on-one.
And Odette sometimes does try to intervene.
Yeah. Let's see.
Did you really think a puny little human could stop me?
No. Daniel!
Odette! You don't have the crystal!
So apparently what happened in the movie is that the crystal is what's protecting her. So Rothbart can't kill her as long as she has the crystal. But after he betrayed her, the crystal lost its power. And so
Okay,
she's still going to protect him even though she's like vulnerable.
That's love, isn't it?
It's love, isn't
That
it?
is
It's
love,
sacrificial,
isn't it?
isn't it?
Odette! You don't have the crystal!
Not a bad deal. 2 for 1. At last, this world is mine.
The crystal's power isn't gone.
How can this be? No!
Supernova.
Ooh! They even show the castle crumbling.
Ah, and the music is perfect.
This is my favorite part of the music, by the way.
It gets me in tears every time. Look at that.
And everything's coming back to life. Oh.
There we go. It's paradise again.
Yay. Oh, the Fairy Queen. I think she was cursed too at some point. And now they all become regular people. Aww.
Look. The legend. It must be true love.
2 for 1.
I did my makeup like her today.
Oh, yes.
Odette?
Daniel.
There is a viable Swan Lake ending.
Yeah, there is.
Where Odette and Siegfried agree to die together
Yeah, exactly.
for each other.
But then
before-
that
but-
breaks the spell.
Yeah, that decision alone is enough to break the spell and to kill
Exactly.
Rothbart. So they
Yeah.
don't actually die, but like it's just that
The
act of-
choice proved their love. That was
Yeah.
enough.
Odette?
Daniel.
Rothbart tricked me. It's you I love. If you'll have me.
Aww. That was good. Wait a second. That was actually good.
That was a satisfying Swan Lake ending.
That was actually
You know what I mean?
good. This was a decent Barbie movie.
Wow. Okay, I see
Okay.
what you mean by magnum opus.
Yeah, okay. I see. I get the hype. I
see it.
Sorry for deading you. You guys clearly know your Barbies.
Well, like I feel like we saved the best for last. You know, like we started with the very worst ballet movie.
Yes, Barbie in the Pink Shoes was by
Was
far
the
the worst.
And then we got to the Nutcracker, which was
Nutcracker.
like pretty good.
Nutcracker was okay.
Actually, Nutcracker wasn't bad. And then we
Yeah.
got 12 Dancing Princesses, which was actually good. And then we got this, which
This is the
Barbie.
pinnacle of Barbie movies.
We should have trusted y'all.
No regrets this
Yeah,
time.
no regrets.
No regrets.
Aside from Daniel.
Aside from Daniel, but that is a detail we will overlook.
Daniel and the Court of Ballet.
Yes, okay. Aside
Those are
from those two.
literally our only 2 gripes.
You guys aren't a stranger to how we are with Barbie movies, but honestly, just having 2 major critiques throughout this, we have to give this a pretty solid review.
Not only were there only 2 main critiques, but also there were a lot of things that sort of wowed me.
That we love.
That were like really creative, artistic nuance that
Yeah.
kind of works with the ballet.
original ballet.
Really well. Like you
Yeah.
can tell they put a lot of thought into it. Yes, morph it and adapt it for children,
Yes.
but also maintain a lot of the details and the
original.
backstory.
We're happy.
I'm happy.
Nothing to say.
I'm happy that I'm happy.
Yeah, me too.
I'm surprised that I'm happy with
But we're happy. We're happy.
but I'm happy with it.
All right, you guys, that was Barbie of Swan Lake, analyzed and critiqued and commented on by yours truly. Honestly, we are very surprised. We did not think we'd come out with such a positive review for this movie,
Yeah.
but here we are. We definitely give this movie a
Exquisite out of 10.
out of 10, a very balletically accurate out of 10, and a very convincing out of 10, and an unfortunately Daniel out of 10, but that's okay. We'll forgive it. Anyway, if you guys enjoy these Barbie-que roasting sessions, then please feel free to check out this playlist right here and below. We have commentated on several other ballet movies and Barbie dancing scenes, so you can check those out after this one. And if there's any other ballet Barbie movies or any other ballet media you'd like us to look at in general, then feel free to let us know in the comments, and we'll see if we can make that happen for you.
If you liked this video, then obviously hit the like button.
Yes.
And if you liked our cute faces and our opinions, and you would like to see more of us in your subscription box every single Saturday, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. And we are very much looking forward to ballet nerding with you again. Thank you, of course, to our patrons for
Yes.
keeping the ballet nerd world spinning.
We love you.
All of the fun that we get to have on this channel is made possible by you guys. So if you have not become a patron yet and you would like to support more good ballet nerd vibes in your future,
Yes.
then the link will be below to to our Patreon, or you can visit patreon.com/balletrain. And anyways, I think that is all from us for now. This is Ballet Rain signing off. Until the next video.
Bye.
Oh, it doesn't work.
Ooh. Ooh.
That was it.
That scared me.
Not this again.
You can do it. We should name it. But something like Trouble. No, I'm just joking. It is Trouble.
Trouble. Okay, to be honest, we're not gonna tell this to anybody, or maybe we won't put it on camera, but I misspelled every single time I was writing the script. I actually messed up spelling
I-E both times.
but I kept writing Daniel like E-I.
Oh, you wrote Daniel wrong. I thought you meant 6.
No, I spelled Daniel wrong.